The forest doesn't make a sound tonight. Not a single leaf stirs. Not a single bird cries. It's as if the woods themselves are holding their breath. Dr. Mara Linwood, 34, lowers her headlamp and stares into the black pines, her breath fogging in the cold air. Why are the deer disappearing? She whispers, voice trembling. Behind her, Ethan Vale, 28, adjusts the camera tripod and laughs nervously, saying, maybe they just migrated early. But Caleb Rowe, 42, doesn't laugh. His eyes trace the tree line as if searching for something only he remembers. That night, the first camera blinks red in the dark, its lens facing a hollow clearing. The footage seems empty at first, just trees, wind, and moonlight. But on the far left edge, a pale figure stands perfectly still. No one notices until later, when they review the footage, and every time they rewind, the figure seems closer. The question echoes through the cold air. What if it's not approaching the camera? What if the camera's being pulled toward it? Morning brings no relief. The forest looks different in daylight, still, watchful, almost listening. Mara, female, 34, notes in her log that the air feels heavier. Ethan, male, 28, teases her, but his voice lacks conviction. Caleb, male, 42, points to faint impressions in the mud, too large for deer, too narrow for boots. They argue about whether to pull the cameras, but curiosity wins. By dusk, they set up 3 more. As the light fades, the woods return to silence, that suffocating quiet that makes even breathing feel intrusive. In her tent, Mara replays the footage again, frame by frame. She swears the pale shape has turned its head. The second night, the figure is closer again, almost halfway across the clearing. Ethan, male, 28, laughs it off, claiming it's an animal caught mid-step. Caleb, male, 42, shakes his head, muttering, animals blink. Mara, female, 34, tries to stay calm, but the unease spreads like smoke. That night, they hear something soft, rhythmic tapping coming from every direction. It sounds like fingernails on bark. When they check the cameras, one is missing. Its last clip shows a hand, pale, long-fingered, reaching toward the lens. Mara dreams of flashing lights and endless static. When she wakes, she hears the faint click of a camera outside, though none of them set timers. She steps out into the cold. The forest feels alive, shifting, waiting. In the clearing, one camera blinks steadily, its lens aimed toward camp, but I'd left it facing the trees. She repositions it, her hands trembling. When she turns away, she hears another click, louder this time, from somewhere deeper in the woods. Rain falls hard that night. The camp is drenched in gray. Ethan, male, 28, and Mara, female, 34, review the footage one last time, shivering beneath dripping canvas. Caleb, male, 42, guards the perimeter with a rifle. Then, mid-recording, the image flickers, and for a split second, the figure's face fills the frame. Hollow eyes, a mouth slightly open, as if speaking. Mara gasps, pulling away. The footage cuts to black. Outside, Caleb shouts her name. When she rushes out, the forest is empty. Only his flashlight lies in the mud, still glowing. By the third night, exhaustion turns to dread. Ethan Vale, 28, rewinds the footage frame by frame, his fingers trembling despite the cold. The figure is no longer distant. It's now halfway between the tree line and their camp, frozen mid-step. Dr. Mara Linwood, 34, refuses to believe what she's. It's a trick of light, she insists, though her voice falters. Caleb Rowe, 42, doesn't speak. He's seen that posture before. In stories his grandfather whispered about a watcher that mimics the living. As they argue, a strange static hum fills the laptop speakers. Low and rhythmic, almost like breathing. Ethan shuts the laptop, but the sound doesn't stop. It's coming from the forest itself. And then faintly, from somewhere behind the tent, a single twig snaps. The air grows heavier, thicker. The kind of silence that swallows sound. Caleb, male, 42, patrols the clearing at dusk, scanning for tracks. Each print seems newer, closer. The trail cameras blink like red eyes. Mara, female, 34, records voice notes trying to stay objective. Second night, unknown figure approaching coordinates northwest. Ethan, male 28, jokes weakly, calling it the world's creepiest photobomb. But no one laughs. When they check one of the cameras, its memory card slot is empty. In its place is something wedged into the plastic, a single deer tooth smeared with dark sap. Caleb looks up from it slowly, muttering, "It's leaving us messages." That night, the temperature drops below freezing. The wind carries faint clicks, like camera shutters. Mara, female 34, can't sleep. She steps outside with a lantern, scanning the fog. Ethan, male 28, joins her, clutching a thermos. "You hear that?" he whispers. The sound grows louder. Click, click, click. Caleb, male 42, emerges from the dark, whispering, "It's learning what makes noise." They follow the sound to the farthest camera, half buried in leaves. The lens is cracked, but still recording. On the feed, the figure's face is inches from the glass, eyes wide, unblinking, mouth slightly open as if it's tasting the air between them. Mara replays the footage again and again. Each freeze frame shows the figure closer, clearer. Its face is smooth, stretched, expressionless. No nose, no lips, just hollow eyes reflecting her lantern's flame. Ethan, male 28, insists on analyzing it frame by frame. "It's moving differently every time," he murmurs, "like it knows we're watching." Caleb, male 42, refuses to go near the monitors. "It's not supposed to be seen," he warns. Later, while they argue inside the tent, one of the cameras outside swivels on its own, turning toward them. The night ends with a storm. Rain crashes against canvas, wind howling like voices. Ethan, male 28, steps outside to secure equipment but freezes mid-step. One of the cameras is gone. The metal mount still drips water, the bolts twisted off. Mara, female 34, calls after him, but her voice drowns in thunder. Caleb, male 42, rushes out with a flashlight, sweeping the trees, and catches a glimpse of something impossibly tall slipping between the trunks, limbs bending at wrong angles. They retreat to the tent, drenched and shaking. Ethan replays the footage on the last working laptop. The final frame shows the pale figure standing directly at the edge of the clearing, facing them. By the fourth night, none of them sleep. The forest hums with low, rhythmic sounds, clicks, whispers, the faint static of unseen movement. Mara Linwood, 34, records audio samples, though her hands shake so badly the mic wobbles. Ethan Vale, 28, rewinds sound files on his laptop and frowns. The patterns aren't random. They form syllables, almost words. Caleb Rowe, 42, listens from the shadows, whispering, "It's copying our voices." When the sound comes again, it's unmistakable. Mara's own voice calling from outside the tent. She freezes. Ethan stares at her. The voice repeats, closer. Caleb grabs his rifle and hisses. No one answer it. Then silence. The forest listens with them. At dawn, fog covers the entire valley. Their breath forms white clouds as they hike to recover the missing camera. Caleb, male 42, leads, rifle slung low, muttering prayers in his native tongue. Ethan, male 28, films the trek with a handheld cam, documenting everything. Mara, female 34, forces calm, but her eyes dart to every rustle. They find the camera at last, resting in the center of a clearing, aimed directly upward. When Ethan reviews the last clip, his face drains of color. For a few seconds before the feed cuts, the camera points up at a pale figure standing over it, staring straight down, its mouth opening slowly, as if trying to speak. That night, the whispers return, but now they're inside the tent. Ethan, male, 28, jolts awake to faint static murmuring from the laptop. He opens the lid. The screen plays their own footage from earlier, except in the background, behind them, the figure stands just outside the tent flap, watching. Caleb, male, 42, rips the cord free. The screen goes black. Mara, female, 34, stares into the darkness where the flap hangs open. The forest seems to breathe with them. Then a voice, soft, broken, repeats from outside, "Ethan." It's Mara's voice, but she hasn't spoken. By morning, all the cameras are turned inward, facing their camp instead of the forest. Every single one. The red lights blink in eerie unison. Mara, female, 34, steps into the clearing, horrified. Ethan, male, 28, spins slowly, filming everything. "It's recording us now," he murmurs. Caleb, male, 42, smashes one camera with the butt of his rifle, but the others keep blinking. One by one, they power off, until only the one nearest Mara remains, its lens glinting like an open eye. She steps closer. For a heartbeat, her own reflection moves, but her reflection smiles. That evening, a low wind crawls through camp, carrying faint whispers in overlapping tones. The team's own voices, distorted, calling one another's names. Mara, female, 34, breaks, shouting into the trees, demanding it to stop. For a moment, it does. Then the forest answers back, repeating her exact words in her voice. Ethan, male, 28, collapses to his knees, clutching his ears as static floods the air. Caleb, male, 42, fires into the dark, but the echoes come from everywhere, surrounding them. When the gunfire stops, the only sound left is breathing. Heavy, uneven, coming from just behind their tent wall. By the fifth night, no one speaks. The rain hasn't stopped in 2 days, and their camp sinks into the mud. Ethan Vale, 28, checks the cameras compulsively. None have recorded anything since dawn. Mara Linwood, 34, sits motionless beside the dying fire, her face ghostly in the embers' glow. Caleb Rowe, 42, sharp-eyed and hollow, walks the perimeter again and again, whispering to himself. Then, for the first time in hours, one of the cameras blinks red. The live feed shows a figure, motionless, standing at the edge of the clearing, arms hanging loose. Ethan zooms in. Its face is blank, eyeless, and yet, somehow, looking directly at him. Mara whispers, "That's where you're standing." Caleb turns to the tree line. The figure is gone. Morning reveals chaos. One tent is gone, dragged several meters through the mud, its poles twisted. Mara, female, 34, paces in disbelief. Ethan, male, 28, insists they must leave, but Caleb, male 42, refuses, muttering that if they run, he'll follow. They argue until their voices vanish into the fog. Suddenly, Ethan's radio crackles. Static, then a faint voice, his own, whispering, "Behind you!" He spins, but there's nothing there. Only the empty forest, dripping and silent. Mara clutches his arm. Trembling, Caleb raises his rifle. None of them notice the shadow passing between the trees, just beyond their sight. Tall, thin, and deliberate. By dusk, the storm breaks into silence, the kind of silence that weighs heavy, as if the world is waiting. Ethan, male 28, ventures into the woods alone, following a faint beeping on his tablet. a GPS signal from the missing camera. His flashlight beam cuts through mist, revealing the same clearing where they found the first strange footage. He mutters into his recorder, "Camera 7, signal active, 40 meters ahead." Then the beeping stops. The tablet flickers, and the live feed begins to play automatically, showing his own figure walking toward the lens. Ethan freezes. The camera is right in front of him, yet the image still shows him coming closer. Back at camp, Mara, female 34, and Caleb, male 42, wait. Hours pass. The wind carries no sound but dripping water. Then Ethan's voice crackles through the radio, a whisper, distorted. "Don't look, the feed cuts to static." Mara grabs her coat, tears streaming down her face. Caleb blocks her path, saying softly, "He's already gone." But she pushes past him, sprinting into the fog, the radio clutched tight. When she reaches the clearing, the ground is disturbed, footprints circling the same camera Ethan tracked. His flashlight lies nearby, still on, and from the darkness between the trees, faint, breathing echoes, slow and deliberate. She lifts the camera, trembling. Later, back at camp, Caleb, male 42, reviews Ethan's recovered body cam. Mara, female 34, sits in silence, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the dark forest. The footage plays. Ethan's shaky light moves between trees, catching glimpses of movement. Then, suddenly, a tall white shape steps into frame. Its face is smooth, its eyes black voids. The camera drops, falling sideways. For one moment before the static swallows everything, the creature crouches over the lens, tilting its head as if studying the viewer. Caleb stops the video and whispers, "He didn't run." Outside, thunder rolls across the valley. Mara turns toward the camera bag. "We're not the ones filming anymore," she says softly. It is. By dawn, there is only one camera left recording. Its small red light blinks steadily, fixed toward the camp where Mara Linwood, 34, sits alone beside smoldering ashes. Ethan is gone. Caleb Rowe, 42, sleeps restlessly inside the torn tent, his rifle across his chest. The forest feels different now, alive, listening. Every sound echoes back distorted, as though mirrored through unseen mouth. Mara whispers into the recorder, her voice barely audible. Something's changed. The cameras aren't catching it anymore. It's like it's already here. Then, faintly, through the rain-soaked stillness, a low creak of wood echoes, like a door opening in the middle of the woods. Both of them freeze. Hours later, Mara, female 34, checks the camera. The footage looks wrong. The timestamps jump backward. Scenes repeat, but every loop shows her sitting closer to the lens. Caleb, male 42, wakes and studies the monitor, his face pale. "That's Liv," he murmurs. "But you're not moving." Mara looks at the screen. Her recorded self slowly tilts her head toward the camera, though she hasn't moved in reality. Suddenly, the tent collapses inward as if struck by unseen force. Caleb yells, shoving her aside, scanning the tree line. The red light on the camera blinks twice, then turns off. Night descends again, darker than before. There is no moon, only the dull pulse of the final camera's recording light. Caleb, male 42, begins burying the damaged equipment in a shallow pit. If it can't see us, maybe it'll stop. Mara, female 34, watches, clutching Ethan's old tablet to her chest. On the screen, static flickers, then suddenly, Ethan's voice whispers, "Don't bury it." Caleb stops mid-motion. The static deepens into a guttural sound, like air being pulled backward. Mara drops the tablet in horror as Ethan's voice speaks again, clearer this time. "It's right behind you." A wind rises from nowhere, howling through the trees. The red light of the last camera flares suddenly bright, flooding the clearing in crimson. Mara, female, 34, shields her eyes. Caleb, male, 42, yells for her to run, firing into the darkness, but the shots echo back instantly, delayed by only a heartbeat. Then movement. A tall, colorless form glides between the trunks, its limbs too long, its face featureless but watching. Mara stumbles and falls beside the camera. For a second, she looks straight into the lens, her reflection trembling. Then the frame freezes, her eyes widening in realization. She whispers, "It's not filming me. It's filming through me." By dawn, the storm is gone. Only one recording remains. The final 6 minutes of footage from that night. It shows Mara asleep by the dying fire. The camera zooms slowly, though no one is touching it. Then from behind the lens, a pale hand reaches forward, brushing the frame. The camera shakes, adjusts focus, revealing Mara's face just inches away, eyes open, staring directly into it. Her lips move silently before the feed, distorts and cuts to black. When investigators later review the footage, they hear a faint whisper layered beneath the static. Mara's voice, soft and close, saying, "If you're watching this, don't look away." 2 weeks later, the storm finally cleared over Birch Hollow. A search team entered the forest with police drones and thermal scanners. Officer Dana Reeve, 39, led the group through mud and silence. The campsite looked frozen in time. Tents half-collapsed, equipment rusted with rain. No sign of Dr. Mara Linwood or Caleb Rowe. Forensics recovered the final camera, still intact, its red light faintly pulsing like a heartbeat. When Dana pressed play, the screen filled with static. Then a flicker of faces. Mara, Ethan, Caleb, each distorted as if pressed against glass. Behind them, a white blur. The officer shut the laptop, her voice shaking. "This isn't weather damage. This is something else." Back at the Birch Hollow Sheriff's Office, the team gathers around the evidence table. The recovered SD cards play nothing but static, except one labeled Camera 9. When they fast forward, the footage stabilizes for 6 seconds, showing a clear image of Mara Linwood sitting awake beside a fire, whispering to someone unseen. Audio analysis detects 2 overlapping voices, hers and another deeper tone repeating her every word. Officer Reeve, female, 39, leans back, whispering. It's not an echo. The lights in the room flicker as if the power dips, and for a heartbeat, the paused frame seems to move on its own. That night, Officer Reeve takes the footage home, unable to stop thinking about it. She loads it onto her personal computer, scrubbing through frame by frame. At one point, she pauses. Behind Mara's figure, something moves. The frame glitches, then corrects itself. The pale shape stands closer. She rewinds. It's even nearer. Every replay brings it forward. She pulls her chair back, heart pounding. The room is silent, except for the faint hum of her monitor. Then, from her speakers, comes a sound. A quiet, rhythmic clicking, exactly like a camera's shutter. The image freezes on Mara's eyes, staring straight ahead. The next morning, the footage is gone. Every file on the drive is empty, overwritten by static. Officer Reeve, female 39, rushes to the station, demanding to know who accessed her evidence. "No one's been here since you left," replies Reena Patel, female 31. But something else catches their eyes. Every security camera in the building froze at exactly 3:07 a.m. The same time, the file vanished. When they replay that timestamp, each camera shows the same frame. An empty hallway, but the shadows seem wrong, too long, bending toward the lens. Dana whispers, "It's inside the recordings now." That evening, a local news crew arrives to document the case. Their footage airs the next morning. A short segment about the Birch Hollow disappearances. But when the clip is uploaded online, viewers notice something strange. In every version, frame by frame, The image shifts slightly. The reflection in the police station's window changes, first a blur, then the faint outline of someone tall and featureless standing behind the reporter. The video spreads across the internet within hours. People swear the shape moves closer every time they watch it. Officer Dana Reeve sits in her darkened office, staring at the frozen news broadcast. On the screen, her own reflection blinks. 3 months after the Birch Hollow disappearance, the case goes cold. The forest reclaims the campsite. Online, the recovered footage becomes legend. Posted, mirrored, slowed, analyzed frame by frame. Some call it a hoax. Others swear the frames change each time they're viewed. Officer Dana Reeve, 39, watches in silence from her living room television. Every version ends differently. In one, the pale figure is gone. In another, it stands behind the camera. She whispers to herself, "It's not just in the woods anymore." The screen flickers once. Then the image of Mara Linwood appears for a split second, looking straight out, lips forming words that the audio doesn't care. Podcasters, cryptid forums, and journalists swarm Birch Hollow. At the local diner, researcher Noah Dre, 46, reviews the leaked files on his laptop. What? Each upload degrades, he tells the waitress, but something else sharpens. He slows one frame. The reflection of a figure standing behind Dana in her own police footage. Outside, the windows darken suddenly, though it's midday. Power surges and the lights flicker. Noah looks up and swears he sees movement in the reflection of the window pane. Something long-limbed gliding across the parking lot. When he checks again, only his own pale face stares back. Across the country, new reports appear. Security cameras that flicker at 3:07 a.m. Baby monitors that show tall silhouettes where no one stands. People online joke about the Watcher virus, a curse hidden in corrupted video. Dana Reeve, female 39, receives an email from an anonymous sender. No text, only an attachment named lastframe.mov. Against her better judgment, she opens it. The file plays 2 seconds of footage, a static-filled clearing, then the faint sound of breathing. She leans closer to the screen. The image twitches and her own reflection blinks out of sync. By autumn, a federal archive team removes the evidence from local storage. A technician named Evelyn March, 31st, runs a checksum on the files. Halfway through, her workstation camera activates by itself, recording her face as she leans in. Later playback shows 6 seconds of her typing. Then, behind her shoulder, the pale figure's outline taking form pixel by pixel. She never notices. When the sequence ends, her reflection in the dark screen smiles faintly before fading to black. A new upload appears online. Watcher footage, real.np. Tort, Terrasor. It's only 15 seconds long. Static, wind, a clearing, and a faint voice whispering. Can you see me? Each time the file is re-uploaded, the figure grows clearer, closer, until its eyes fill the frame. Commenters notice one final detail: the reflection of another face in the pupil, watching from a glowing screen. Officer Dana Reeve closes her laptop for the last time. In the darkness, the monitor stays lit for several seconds after she powers it down, faintly showing the outline of someone standing behind her chair. The voice returns, soft and near. "You looked too long."